The conversation of my inner world literally creates my outer world. And because I'm the one speaking and I'm the one hearing, it is completely my responsibility. And I love that word responsibility because it is literally responding to your ability. You have full control. You are the one that gets to decide what kind of conversations you want to have with yourself. Hey, I'm Serene. Thanks for hanging out with me for a little bit. If you're new here, we chat about topics that can elevate our body, mind, and soul so that we can live our best life now. And today I want to talk about the thoughts that we have, the inner conversations we have with ourselves. Those conversations are really important, and we don't even realize how often we're talking to ourselves, but they really do dictate the direction of our life. Let's get into it. Who are you talking to when you think? How often do you think? All the time, right? It's a constant thing. We are having conversations with ourselves all the time. It's literally what causes words to come out of our mouth. And those words become actions, and those actions become habits. And the habits become our character, and our character becomes our destiny, which is our reality, which is our life. So the thoughts we think really do matter. Who are you talking to when you're thinking? Let's figure it out right now. Super simple, very easy exercise to do. We'll do it together. Ready? Say I love you to yourself. Ready? Go. Just say it to yourself. Did you say it? Of course. Did you hear it? Yes. So you said it, but you didn't use your mouth, and you heard it, but you didn't use your ears. Who is yourself? They say, know thyself. Well, common vernacular would definitely be know yourself. Who's talking? Yourself. Your inner you. Your inner self. Your soul. And this is the most important conversations that we have, and we have them all day long. Yet we don't realize how powerful it really is. Know thyself. Know yourself. Biblical writers, including David, really understood this concept of being able to communicate and talk and have conversations with your soul. And other psalmists as well had the same understanding and would speak of it when David says, "Bless the Lord, O my soul, and all that is within me." He understood the conversations that he's having within himself, to himself, with himself, are the conversations that are going to dictate the direction of what happens outside of himself. The Quran identifies the self, nafs, in several different capacities. There's the inciting self, which is the base of your desires. And there's the reproaching self, which is the self-criticism. And there's the tranquil self, I think it's called tranquil self, if I'm not mistaken, that is the peaceful and contentment self. And again, these are, very religious books to people that have based their entire lives based on this information. And the similarities are amazing. Even Buddha says we are shaped by our thoughts and we become what we think. Even the Bible references, so a man thinks, so is he. So our thoughts, our conversations that we have with ourselves are extremely important. Know yourself, know your soul, know your inner self, because these conversations you have with your inner world really do determine your outer world. They really do determine your reality. Many of us are so unaware of how many conversations we're having with ourselves on a regular basis, all day, every day. The thoughts that we're thinking. I mean, that's where our beliefs come from. You say the same thing often enough and it becomes a belief, regardless of whether it's true or not. That's where faith comes from. What do you believe? And if that's the case, you got to go back and say, well, what am I thinking? What are my thoughts? And then you got to go back to, well, what are the conversations that I'm having with yourself? When you say, I love you to yourself, you're the one speaking. You're also the one hearing. You are literally responsible for both sides of the conversation. The conversation of my inner world literally creates my outer world. And because I'm the one speaking and I'm the one hearing, it is completely my responsibility. And I love that word responsibility because it is literally responding to your ability. You have full control. You are the one that gets to decide what kind of conversations you want to have with yourself. I'm going to get to know myself better, actually, much better. And I'm going to choose the words that I tell myself much better. Actually, I'm going to do it on purpose. And I'm going to choose the thoughts that I'm going to keep on purpose. As a matter of fact, I'm going to tell myself good things within me so I can start experiencing good things outside of me. Heck, great things. Wow. Do I really have this much power over my life? You decide. Do I really have this much power over my health, over my finances, over my relationships? You decide. Because the truth is, it is your decision. It is your conversation. Know thyself. Okay, so how do we do this? Because realistically, we are talking to ourselves all day long, whether we realize it or not. And it's sort of like being at the beach. Think about it for a minute. If you've been to the ocean and you go in the ocean, and if you don't jump over the wave or go under the wave, you're going to get bombarded by the wave. The wave's going to take you out. And by the time you get back up out of the wave, and depending upon how pummeled you were, another wave is crashing on you again. And people are literally living their lives this way, where their thoughts and their thinking patterns are causing them to go in a direction that they're being bombarded in. So many of us who have gone into the ocean know that if you go out just a little bit further than where the waves are breaking, it's calm, it's still. Or you can just get out of the water and stand on the shore and watch the waves break in front of you, and they have no impact on you. It's the same with our thoughts. You can choose to stand and be grounded. And so when a thought enters your mind, you can do one of two things. You can either choose to let it go if it's not something you want to hold on to, if it's not benefiting you or helping you in any way, or you can choose to keep it. And it's this self-awareness that really does give us what we need to not be bombarded by our thoughts. I feel like a lot of us get stuck when we're thinking about something in the past and we just can't seem to let the thought go. It really can become quite overwhelming, and we don't even realize that it's like we're playing a video on autoplay or replay where it just keeps playing over and over again in your head, and you're not even grasping the fact that it's having such an enormous impact on your life because you're so stuck in that place. And I know all of this is easier said than done, but let's talk about this. Nobody goes on the baseball field and picks up a bat for the first time and hits a home run. I mean, at the very least, you got to learn how to hold the bat, right? And you have to understand the pitches that are actually coming towards you. Should you swing or should you stand still? I mean, this is a great analogy for understanding how to address your thoughts that come in. Do I go with it? Do I swing, or is it not a good pitch? Is it not a good thought? Do I just stand still? What happens if you stand still for all four pitches because they're not so great and they're all called balls and not strikes? You get to literally walk to first base. You get to ease your way with progress in the game. And it is such a good symbol of understanding if you just choose to stand still. And when the thoughts come in, understand the pitch, understand the thought, so that you know whether you should swing to hit that home run out of the park or if you should stand still and let that thought go. This is what happens when we choose the right thoughts, when we choose to tell ourselves the right things, and when we choose to not keep a thought and we choose to let it go, because now we can move forward in the progression of life with ease as opposed to the stress of swinging and missing. So just like learning to play a sport, we need to learn how to talk to ourselves. We need to learn how to think. And I've realized that for me, the best training time is when you first wake up in the morning and right before you're ready to fall asleep. It happens to be a very calm time, but also there's a scientific background in conjunction with this in regards to the fact that those are the times, like when you first wake up in the morning, you're literally going from theta to alpha, and it is a very beautiful, calm time in regards to your thoughts before you actually get going in your day and move into beta where you're full on activity mode. The same brain waves are in effect right before we fall asleep at night. And these are the best times when it comes to our thoughts, our conversations that we're going to have with ourselves, because we're not bombarded and we're in a place where we really can focus on the kinds of conversations that we want to have with ourselves. We really can focus on the particular thoughts we know that we want to keep. We really are in a great position to be able to train ourselves how to think, how to have great conversations with ourselves, how to know thyself. When I wake up in the morning, if I am not on purpose having a good conversation with myself, then it can sort of go left pretty quick, meaning I could just all of a sudden be swarmed with all the responsibilities of the things that I have to do throughout the day and whatever thoughts I've been thinking, my belief system. And this is how people just end up riding the wave or taking swings at foul balls. So when I wake up in the morning, I immediately choose to be grateful. I just start by saying, thank you. And I literally say, thank you for the breath in my lungs. Thank you for waking me up. Thank you. I just have gratitude as I'm walking to the bathroom. I say, thank you that I can walk. I'm just grateful for whatever it is I can immediately think of that I have that I usually might take for granted. But I just wake up with a very grateful heart and I express gratitude. And that's how I start my conversation in the mornings. And then I start to have an uplifting conversation about whatever attributes I'm trying to cultivate. It might be good eating habits. It might be determination or positive attitude or whatever it may be. But before I actually delve into that uplifting conversation, I almost always meditate, or what some may call pray, every morning. And it's not a religious act according to a religion. It's my connection with my breath. It's my connection with my soul, what some might say with my God or with my source. And it really is just a few minutes of amazing deep breathing. And it's that breath that connects my mind with my body. And I realize how much power my breath, my source, my God has over my mind and my body. And that same breath that chooses the words that I speak to myself all day, at that moment, I choose a beneficial thought and I start having a conversation with myself about that beneficial thought. I used to meditate for like just a few minutes a day, maybe, 5 minutes, perhaps 10 minutes. And then before I knew it, it was like 15 to 30 minutes. And then it just became an hour plus because I just love it so much. And yeah, I have to get up an hour early, but that's easy peasy because it gives me so many benefits. And really the direction of my life is so geared towards the place that I want it to go. And even it helps in regards to when things are tossed in my direction that I am overwhelmed by, or it's too much, or it's actually, the whole point is it's never too much anymore. It's not overwhelming anymore. It actually is a practice that helps me so that whenever something does come in my direction that's negative or is a lot or whatever it might be, I am fully capable of choosing the thoughts I'm going to keep and not keep, of keeping my focus in line with what I know my course is. I'm not going to get off course because someone is trying to drag me to the left or to the right. That's not happening. So it just is extremely helpful to me. And it really is the key for me getting to know myself and being able to give myself that time. And even if it is just for a few minutes, you'll be surprised as to how much you get to know yourself and how much it helps us to be able to move forward in whatever direction you want to go. And you got to have a direction. You can't just hope that things are going to happen in your life. You can't just, wish and pray for things. It's not. So when I say you can't just wish and pray, I do believe you can absolutely in your mind decide what's going to happen, and that will absolutely happen. There's no question, because you're motivating yourself, because your actions are going to, what did we say in the beginning? Your thoughts become your words become your actions become your habits become your character, and your character becomes your destiny. So everything sort of falls in line in regards to that. And do I believe it is as easy as asking, seeking, knocking? Yeah, I really do. But when you ask and when you seek and when you're knocking, there are actions that are correlating with that. And those actions can be something that we really procrastinate on unless we do what I'm talking about today, because then we have no desire to procrastinate, because procrastination is really you just don't believe you can do it. That's really what it is, because if you knew you could do it, you just do it. But you just don't really believe you're going to do it and do it well. It's just really something you don't want to do. But you don't want to do it because there really is a deep-seated thing about that. It just might not come out the way you want it to come out. And that might be something as simple as cleaning your house or starting a new career or whatever it may be. So we really want to just give ourselves the tools that we need to know ourselves. So that because if you know yourself, if you really know who you are, if you really have those conversations with yourself, if you're continually growing and having that personal growth, then you're really in a position to do life, and to do life better and better and better, and to do life now. Because now is all that really is. Yes, the past is the past, and people like to get stuck in it and think about it over and over again, but they're stuck. You can't be in the now if you're thinking in the past. And it's great to think about what might happen in the future, but you can't live in the future tense. Nobody knows for sure what the future is per se, but if you live in the now, you're continually in control of the now, no matter what your circumstances are, no matter what environment you're placed in, no matter what other things come in your direction. You'll know the pitch, and you'll be able to choose whether you should just stand still or swing for the fences, right? So, to say the very least, I love my morning meditations and I love my evening meditations. And it's super simple, by the way, if you want a guided meditation to walk you through, because it's just really a nice way to start. You can find so many of them on YouTube. As a matter of fact, I'll put a few of my favorites that I really enjoy in the description below. And I have had some requests for me to do some guided meditations, to record them. And I am going to do that in the near future. And when I do, I'll make sure that I put those in the description as well. Even if you're not doing deep breathing and full-on meditation with yourself, really start to decide that you're going to choose the conversations you have with yourself wisely. Really start to get to know thyself. Let's really start to comprehend that our thoughts become words, and our words become actions, and our actions become habits, and our habits become character, and our character becomes destiny that we have full control over, and the ability, or should I say the responsibility, remember that's responding to your ability to live our best life now. Know thyself. If you enjoyed this, please give it a thumbs up. And if you thought it was helpful, please share it with somebody else you think it would help. I appreciate you greatly. And thanks for hanging out with me for a little bit. Until next time, shine.